welcome to another episode of Your Health and Faith Community. I'm your host, Pastor Jackie Jackson. And as always, we want to thank you for tuning in. You could have did anything else with your time, but you're taking time out with us, and we give God the glory for that. We always try to make sure that we're bringing information or something that's either going to lift you up, educate you, or just get your spirit flowing. And I'm excited about today. But before we jump into it, I do want to mention today is the 19th of January, which means that you have about 12 days left to get enrolled in health care through the Affordable Care Act. It's something you definitely want to take advantage of now. As you know, there's all kind of battles that I'm not going to get into, but you have until the 31st of this month to get enrolled. So if you don't have health care, as I say every week, if you're not insured, get insured. If you don't want to get insurance for you, get insurance for the people that love you. Because I'm telling you, it could take one visit to the emergency room to mess up your whole bank account. I mean, unless, of course, you just got a lot of money. And if that's the case, then you're good. But why spend money that you don't have to when you can go ahead on, get enrolled? And remember, if you are getting Medicaid or you need to enroll for Medicaid, that is open enrollment all year that never shuts down. If you're a single person making $16,423, $343, you're eligible for Medicaid, and that goes up depending on how many people in your family that are counting on you. You could actually have a family of four, or a family of five making over $45,000 a year, and that makes you still eligible for Medicaid, which covers medical, dental, it covers vision, prescriptions. So listen, find out what you need to do and get it done. All right, let's be healthy. Let our faith flow. And listen, we can do a whole lot more work for God when we're healthy. Not saying if we're not, we still can't be used by him, but just think your energy level is a lot better. So get enrolled. Listen, we have with us today an awesome young man I met a few years ago and was able to get back acquainted with him personally, have touched base on Facebook, as we all do in this world of social media, but had the opportunity to reacquaint with him over at Christ Temple, which is Pastor Peterson Mingo's church, when he was at the Men's Day celebration I spoke at, and he came out with this song, Breathe, Don't Suffocate. And so I guess I'll let you know already that he is a gospel entertainer. This young man is a gospel rap artist. He's a youth pastor out at Life Changers Church International, which is Pastor Warren Curry is the senior pastor there. And this young man goes by the name of K. Gray. I'm telling you, he's awesome, and you want to stick around because you're going to get an opportunity to hear him minister or do the song, Breathe, Don't Suffocate. Gets me moving every time, and I like the message that's there. So let's start talking to him. How you doing, Carlos?
Oh, how you doing, Pastor Jackie?
Hey, I woke up, so it's a good day, right?
Amen, amen.
All right. Look, I want to thank you for being on the show, and definitely wanted to get you on here to talk about what you're doing. It always, I got all this gray hair, so I love to see young men and young women who are out here in the field, in the vineyard, or whichever way you need to say it, trying to work for God, trying to be out here reaching his people, giving people the message of hope, of love, and especially reaching our young people. Excuse me. I know sometimes people get a little bit older and they don't understand why Amazing Grace and certain songs aren't pulling the young people in the church. Well, it's a different time. It's a different era. And God meets us right where we are. And I think that as the church, we've got to get to where we start meeting people where they are and not where we want them to be. Yes. So people like yourself, Alicio and his radio show, getting gospel artists out there like D-Mob and a lot of these other gospel hip-hop artists that are reaching the young people. Yeah. I just first want to say I thank God for you. I pray over what you're doing, man, because it is an awesome thing to do and reaching young people. Now, I'm going to be quiet. I want to, first thing I want to ask you, what is the name of the project, your current project right now?
So the name of the current project is called Fresh the Rebirth. And it's just a project full of hot songs. It's an EP that I put together. And it also has the single Breathe, Don't Suffocate on there. And it's just a fiery project. A lot of my songs, they just inspiration, or I would say I'm inspired by things I go on in my life, people I meet, I could have a conversation with you and just get inspired to write a song. So really, my songs is just about my environment, my culture, or even what God may be doing in my life at this current time.
All right, that's awesome. So we've talked, obviously, we've had some conversations. So you've shared some of your life. I think the thing is, we all have some type of, there's something connected to our life,
Yeah.
something that got us to where we are, things that help get us closer to God. I think that for a lot of us, probably for most of us, or some anyway,
Yeah.
as we go through trials and tribulations, that helps push us. In James, it said, in the book of James, it says that count it all
Joy.
as joy. Count it all as joy.
Yes.
And so, and saying that all these things, the tribulations and trials that you go through, are to make your faith stronger, are to bring you closer to God. So why don't you tell us, we know who you are now. We know you're this awesome man of God. We know you're this youth pastor. We know that you're this gospel artist. But why don't you tell us a little bit what road brought you to where you are today?
So I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Was raised in a part of the town called Aviston, in a tough community called St. Ledger's. St. Ledger's, man, a lot of what I am is because of where I grew up at in St. Ledger's. Real tough place, projects, you name it. Whether if it was environment filled with drugs or just, and I was always around gang banging, whether my family was gang banging, where I come from, there's gang banging, and just really had to fight my whole life. Those that grew up with me know, I was fighting. I was fighting out of the womb all the way, till the Lord kind of put on my heart, like, you got to stop fighting, toting guns, things of that nature. So I just grew up, eventually what I saw is what I became, I ended up selling drugs at the age of 13, 14, using drugs. That's what I wanted to do. I loved it. I love that life. A lot of people, may try to say this or that, but, the only way I could stop living that life is that God delivered me. You know what I mean? And He took the desire away. Other than that, it was like a drug to me. Living a gangster life, or I wouldn't even call it gangster life. In St. Ledger's, it's just a way of life. That's how we grew up. That's what we saw. That was our environment. From the older cats to the younger cats, that's just how we was taught. And we didn't know any difference. And still, a lot of people that I grow up, a lot of the older cats, we have experienced different things, but man, a lot of people don't know nothing different. And so my thing is to use my music, use my ministry, just use the programs and the things God has put within me to try to just show people a different way out. You know what I mean? And let God do the rest. You know what I mean? Just try to witness to people where they at. And part of it is doing that with rap. I was running the streets, and at 21, called my first felony. So I had a nice streak. And then eventually, that same year, I ended up going to prison. And so went to prison at 21, didn't get out till I was 25, And so yeah, it was a hard time for me. But it was a transition that I needed. I don't know if I would be alive today, the stuff I was doing. A lot of guys that I was running with, a lot of guys that I, network with, a lot of guys that I move, product for or with, they no longer here on this earth, murdered, killed, guys doing football numbers in prison. Like I said, that was just part of our life. We loved it. And a lot of guys I know still love it, but God, he had a different route for me. And that route was almost like a Joseph or a Jonah, to where, now I need you to witness to your brothers, and, I now need you to show them a better way. Now they need help, you know what I mean? Because when you needed help, I was able to confine you or as pastor, a good pastor friend of mine, Pastor Greg said, he said, separation for clarification. And so God was able to separate me, give me clarification, and then say, now this is your purpose in life. Your purpose in life is to illuminate the light on those that come from where you come from, that will never have the opportunity that you had unless you go, unless you are sent.
And so from that, K. Gray
Yeah.
was formed. And so your music, and through your music, that is your ministry.
Yes,
You're
yeah.
able to reach, and because of the lifestyle that you lived, and there are a lot of people, and you mentioned younger, and actually some older ones too, that need to realize that regardless to what your past is, it doesn't define what your future has to be. Now, we know that there are consequences to things that we do, so there are things that follow us sometimes, but it doesn't control, or put it this way, it doesn't have to control every facet of our life. And so through how you grew up, through the prison situation, God gave you a ministry. And that ministry is something that you can reach a person, you can reach a young person or someone older that's listening to the music, because they're going to understand what you're saying because they lived it, and has given you a way to present it in such a way that they can accept. And I always like to go back to something that Pastor Jeremiah Wright, I said I was at a seminar that he was the keynote for here last year up at Word, but he was brought here by another pastor, but they used Word as a location. And he made the comment that you got to bring it in the cup that they can drink from. And he was talking about when he got out of seminary and he went back to preach at his home church, and he was a young man and excited, he's excited to get back, and he was ready to show them what it was. And the approach was kind of rough. And he said one of the older mothers came up to him and said, baby, I hear what you're saying, and what you're saying is good, and it's really great. She said, but if you want me to listen to you from now on, you're going to have to bring it in a cup that I can drink from, which is a very interesting analogy. But that is the case where you are. So when you listen to songs like Breathe, Don't Suffocate, the first time I actually heard it and was very conscious of it, and listening to the words, I'm like, I love the song. It's got an awesome meaning. I know that everybody it's not going to maybe adjust to it.
Yeah.
But for the people that it needs to reach, it's there to reach. Yeah. And so God used you through all of that. And, and I've had, like I said, the opportunity to watch you from afar sometimes and, actually talk and to see that God is, I believe from my heart that definitely God is flowing through you. So, you created this music. Let's talk about that process. Or when did you know that this is what you were going to do? Were you rapping before gospel, before hip hop, and then you just said, okay, let me flip this over, or did this come after your clarification?
Okay. So I'd like to give a shout out to my brother Jonathan. When I was about 8 years old, he had me and my brother, my other brother, Walt, he had us in this group with our neighbor. They used to write raps for us. I remember the first rap. I was 8 years old, I still remember.
8.
Still remember, and I can see my brothers now probably laughing, but I still remember. And we was dope, and so we was actually had a deal on the table, a record deal on the table, and that was the day I got hit by a car. I mean, it was probably was the Lord, like, no, I can't. I can't have you. It was the 90s, and later on that evening, we was actually going A&R for a record company. I was young. I don't know which A&R was, but we was going to perform the song we worked on. I mean, it was a dope song. Even the day the song's still dope. And, I was like, I'm going to run to the store. Went to the store, and I got hit, and then we never heard anything else about it. The guys from the record company, they moved on. Like, we got other talent.
That's what they do.
We just gonna move on. And so that's when I started rapping at 8 years old. And the gift has developed over the years. I've begun to have an ear for music. I always been a poet. When I was younger, I got one of my poems published in Chicken Soup for the Soul, you know, in elementary school. And so I've always had a knack for writing, wordplay. And so as, you know, as I grew, you know, started living a street life, I started gravitating more towards that music because it was rapping about my life. You know what I mean? And so me and my wife, at the age of, I think we was 19, 20, we started a record label called Dream Records in Cincinnati. It's right
Wait a
before
minute,
I
how
got.
long have y'all been married?
We've been married for 6 years, but
Okay.
we've been together since we was 19.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we've been together since we was 19, and we started a record label called Dream Records. And so from there, you know, we had everything set up, and then I went to prison. And so once I got out of prison, you know, I was like, you know, man, should I keep the name? I was going through it in my head, and I had the inspiration to change the name to Christ Music Group. You know, so I went to the Secretary of State website, and by the grace of God, the name was available in Ohio. So, you know, we changed the name, I said Secretary of State, but we changed the name to Christ, you know, Music Group. And ever since then, man, we just been doing music that inspire, music that motivates, music that just you want to just dance to, and the whole purpose of just to find a way to touch the culture. You know what I mean? And even with what I do, man, I'm forever growing. You know, I'm not at my peak as far as a rapper, so I'm forever learning from other rappers. You know, I have mentors that's not even rappers; they're singers. One person that's really been helping me is a Prina Johnson. You know, she's an excellent singer.
Oh, I know Aprina.
You know what I mean?
I love Aprina.
And
That's
so,
an
you know,
awesome
she had a long conversation with me. You know, really just helping and showing it to me. You know, and we looking for her to blow in Cincinnati. You know, amazing.
I'm looking for her to
amazing
blow up
singer.
nationally.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to initially meet Aprina when she was actually still young. She was a minor,
Okay.
and met with her and her dad and kind of talked about her craft, and never actually got to do the work we wanted, but have had a chance to watch her grow.
Yeah.
So you're in good company. If that's one of your singing mentors, you've got a great singing mentor. I want to ask a question. With, you know, in the city, and there's a lot of stuff going on around Cincinnati. We're just in the 19th day
Right.
of the new year of 2017, and there's already been 12 shootings, 4 homicides, and, you know, last night a little young girl, 9 years old, was murdered. So now you reach out to the young people, and we both know that everybody that listens to Christian rap isn't necessarily a Christian or have not yet given their life to God, but the music inspires them. So since you have the ear of a community, especially our young brothers and sisters, coming from your experience, coming from yourself as an artist, what would you say? What would you say to these young people? I know I don't want to put you on the spot. But
Oh,
what would you say to them?
no, you cool. Just what I would say to them, you know, like I would tell them, you know, it's another way. You don't have to go the route that you're going. And then once I tell them that, you know, I don't just want to, you know, be somebody that just preaches, but I want to have action behind that. I want to be able to give them tools. Man, here's tools. Yeah, you can change, but here's something to help you change. I believe that's what's needed. You know, we make prisons, which we call rehabilitation centers, you know, but we need rehabilitations on the outside before prison, before the crime, in the midst of the crime. You know, things that really help. You know, so my goal with my wife, you know, she got a heart for the inner city women, and our goal, man, is to find a way to take a lot of the resources that's being used to build prisons, that's being used to house inmates, that grants funding, that we want to find a way to be able to take that money and build programs that'll be able to help the inner city youth, because they just really need direction. You know, you could preach and tell me you love me, as you could tell me you love me as many times as you want, but it's going to be your actions that tells me that you love me. So, I'm through talking. People heard me talking for the last, since I was young. What people want to see is action. Because once you start putting your action, then your actions speak louder than your words. So we want to just, like right now, like I said, we're working on a mentor program dealing with teen young men. That's what I'm working on right now, putting that together with young men that I'm already mentoring. And what I'm trying to do is just really impact this team, start with where I'm at. You know what I mean? And Lord willing, be able to make it grow because our team, man, they need direction. Right now, their direction is influences that they're around, things that they hear every day, people that they hear every day. And so if we could begin to spend time with them, speak to them, just like, the guys I grew up with, I call them OGs on the block, just like they was able to speak into my life and I listened, you know what I mean? And I sold dope, I got money, we bang girls, that's what we called it. If we could have positive young men saying the same things to us. Hey, man, go to school, man, get a job. That's not going to work for you, man. It's never worked. Let me show you some statistics on people that goes that route. Man, it's high that they either go to jail or get killed. They need to hear that while they out there, not when they behind prison. Because once they come out, then they feel beat up. They feel like there's no hope. I can't get no job. The system is against me. And so my thing is to be a light to the brothers that's coming out, but also before they go in, I think that's more important because it's easy to change your mind before it is flipped over to somebody that went into the system, got a number, and now they dealing with issues that they never dealt with before. Because if you know about the system, once you get a number, a prison number, that's on your record. That's not going nowhere. And it's hard for you afterwards. It's very hard for you. By the grace of God, I've always been able to get jobs and things in that nature. But I've just witnessed, man, just the hardship of that. So
It's difficult. Let me ask you. So you mentioned the mentorship. In the mentorship, are you dealing with some of the things you're talking about now, some of those issues? Or is it musically mentoring, or is it working with these young men and women on stuff you're talking about right now?
yeah, it's just working with the young man, working with them just as far as so. What I do is, as a minister, I'm a life minister. I don't just minister in the church Sundays and Wednesdays. I mentor and minister with women, young man, older man older than me. You know what I mean? God has just given me a gift. And so I take my gift and I use it. And so a lot of the things that we do with the teens and that we also do with the other people that God has put under me, allow me to be able to have the privilege to speak into their life, because it's a privilege, is to be able to just give them direction. A lot of people need direction. You see what I'm saying? The Bible says, if you don't have a vision, that you'll perish. A lot of people don't have the vision, or if you look at that word in the Greek, it actually, or not in the Greek, but in Hebrew, it means like divine, like when they say vision, it means divine guidance or prophetic word, or, nobody has, some people don't know how to hear God's voice. You know what I mean? As the Bible says in the days of Samuel, it said there was no open vision. That means there was no divine utterances. There was no oracles. There was nobody speaking. And so as a young man full of the Spirit of God, my job is in and outside of the church, whether if I use God or not use God's name, is to be the oracle, the divine voice of God in any and every situation, that God takes me into. And so really that's what I do. It's hard to pin it down because I've learned this. Every person needs something different. I can't go to a young woman that got 3 or 4 kids and a teenager and try to give them the same materials, the same substance. They need, they in different places in their life, they need different things. This young man may need guidance, or this young woman may need income. She may need stability. This young man may have all that. So it's really just, my thing is, hear what I feel like the Lord is communicating to me and directing people the best way I know how by the power of the Holy Spirit, the best way I know how, in the direction they need, supplying them with the tools they need, connecting them with the right people. The Lord has blessed me, to know people like you, Pastor Jackie, one of my spiritual fathers, Pastor Mingo, who does a lot of work in the inner city, a lot of my other friends, brothers and sisters throughout the Cincinnati tri-state area that do a lot of work. My wife who works for Hamilton County Job and Family Service, people that's able to direct and help those that are in need. So that's really my job, and that's what I'm trying to do by the grace of God.
Well, to God be the glory. Before we get ready to get out of here, I want to ask one thing, and then you're going to minister.
Okay.
Breathe, don't suffocate. But I want to understand that you're putting together. You're currently working on a tour.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. I got like 2 minutes. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. So in 2 minutes, it's gonna be kind of hard.
Okay.
One is about your tour that you're currently working on, and then just a brief little information, and we're gonna get you back again, about your trip to China. Okay. So why don't you, whichever order you want to go.
So the tour, so we're working on a tour through the Midwest right now. We getting all the information. We getting all the data together. We working with a slew of pastors, slew of leaders that's definitely like you, Pastor Jackie, took on that is seeing and have saw what we are doing, and they like, yeah, we want to work with you. And so we put it together. It's going to be throughout the Midwest, Cincinnati, Dayton, as far as up to Detroit, Kentucky, Indiana, and then from there we'll just continue to just branch out to the other areas, East Coast, West Coast. We're looking to do big things. And I actually didn't go to China. I went to India.
India.
So,
okay.
So yeah. So, you okay?
I don't know why Anita told me China. No, she didn't.
So and India. I went on a trip to India, and it was an amazing trip. I went with an amazing team. We had fun, and the people in India, they are amazing people, very hospitable.
All right, awesome. So like I said, this is definitely not going to be the last time, because we didn't even scratch the surface of the things I want to talk about, whether it's your music, your life experience, or you in ministry. So there's a lot of things that I think we need to talk about that is important to get your voice for the young people, because they're going to listen to you better than they're going to listen to me, and I understand why. So it's important that we make sure we talk about it and get it out there. So you're going to get ready, do what you need to do to get ready to perform your Breathe, Don't Suffocate. Yes. And say, hey, listen, while Carlos, a.k.a. K. Gray, is getting ready, I want to thank you again for joining or tuning in to your health and faith community. As again, my name is Pastor Jackie Jackson. Keep in mind, you've got about 12 days left to get enrolled in health care through the Affordable Care Act. Medicaid is open year-round. Don't let the 31st catch you without getting insured. Until the next time we talk, God bless. The next person you're going to hear is going to be K. Gray doing, I love saying this, the name, Breathe, Don't Suffocate. All right, until the next time.
Breathe, don't suffocate. Breathe, don't suffocate. K. Gray, breathe, don't suffocate. And tell them help is on the way. Breathe, don't suffocate. The wrong thing, you can meditate. I tell them, look, I didn't have better days, but I see this game and I just penetrate. Go try to simulate. What I got, I pull it from the wrist. Ayy. They don't know what I've been through. The word I got up on my mental. Stay straight, boy, stay straight. A couple roadblocks on the way. Look, I'm covered by the blood, boy, anyway. A marksman, you could try to simulate. I ain't never met a greater name. Make it rain like Eddie Kane. Never take the Lord name in vain. And me and you, sir, we are not the same. Hey.